It does feel good. It's actually a little bit more adjusting than I thought. I didn't really think that I was gonna have to adjust so much, as far as fighting at home, but it's been pretty nice.
I mean, what are the adjustments you made? I mean, just not checking into a hotel or not having to get on a plane, does that throw you off?
A little bit, all Monday and Tuesday I kept thinking that I had to start packing and that I wasn't going to be packed in enough time to be able to, catch my flight and things like that. So it's been a little bit of adjustment, but other than that, it's been really nice.
Yeah, you're back down to 125 for this one, yeah? Mm-hmm. What went into that decision, and was there anything that went on behind the scenes, given what you've gone through in the past, where you had to ask, or say to guys like, trust me, I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna hit that number?
Yeah, a lot of it came with my outside eating discipline. That was honestly my biggest reason for having such a hard time getting to 25. Isn't because of the cut itself. I mean, the cut's always hard. Everyone always has a hard cut, but it was more of my discipline outside of camp. I would let myself balloon up so much that I would start a fight camp at like 163 pounds and then try to cut all the way down to 25. And it was never a healthy 63 either. It was always kind of a beer and burger induced 163. So my discipline, and also my last two fights that were at 35, I just noticed a significant difference in my my energy levels for the fight. Everyone thinks that moving up you're gonna feel better and things like that. Like, yeah, in terms of the cut, it's gonna be easier and you're gonna feel better, but other than that, inside that octagon, it really felt like when I was fighting with the 10-pound weight vest on. It was something I wasn't used to.
When you moved up, was that in part because you were concerned about the future of the flyweight division, and have those concerns been erased?
No, it wasn't at all about the flyweight division. I mean, to be honest, with the way things work, you never really know what's going to happen in the UFC. You don't really know whether the division's going to stay, whether it's going to leave. You don't know what's going to happen. It's very unpredictable in the game of MMA. My move to 35 was basically because I was having such a hard time cutting to 25, and I had gotten it in my head that I was getting older and too big for the weight class, and that my body just wasn't having as easy of a time as cutting it, which I do have to still make some minor adjustments so that way my body can cut the weight. But the guys over there at the UFC PI, they kind of have a good hang on things no matter what. So they've really helped me out through the weight cut.
So I'm sure you got this question, but I mean, just being a New Mexico guy, I mean, the pride that you have fighting on this card and representing the state and stuff like that, man. Yeah,
man, it's something else to be fighting here on the card in Albuquerque or in Rio Rancho. It's one thing to fight on a card here locally or regionally, and it's another thing to have the biggest stage in the world come to your hometown and you'll be able to perform in front of all your friends and family. So it's something very unique. It's something cool. It's something I'm really looking forward to. So the pride of fighting in Rio Rancho is something unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm sure every time you go into a camp, obviously you're going in to win, dude. But I mean, and you have a certain mentality. But did you have a different, almost was it different pressure? Was it excitement, coming into this one since it was here type deal?
No, the only thing about fighting here in Rio Rancho was just, my hometown, not having to go anywhere, everything being so easily accessible, and not having to leave my house. Being able to hang out with the kid all day and things like that. But as far as pressure or anything like that, I mean, it's such a cliche saying to say, when people say that I'm a kill or be killed type fighter. It's so cliche, but I truly believe that bottom down, I really am a kill or be killed type fighter. So no matter what the pressure is, no matter what's going on in that cage, what's going outside the cage, as soon as the cage door closes, a switch goes on, and it's either I'm going to get knocked out or I'm going to be finishing someone. So it's a kind of a kill or be killed mentality.
Last time the UFC was here, your getting to the promotion was still a goal. Do you remember where you were and what you were thinking back then 6 years ago?
Yeah, I was actually in the UFC when they came in 2014. I had just made my debut and I was getting ready. I was actually in fight camp to make my second appearance in the UFC. But it was kind of cool. It was something surreal. It still wasn't hadn't set in that I was in the UFC, so I still kind of was just a fan, going into, I sat front row, and it was kind of man, this is awesome. You know how cool it would be to fight in front of my hometown. It sounds super cliche, but this is something that I've kind of like always, dreamed about since I was a kid. When I first started training and being in high school training MMA, I wasn't ever sure if it was going to be the UFC or anything, but I always told myself I wanted to fight on a huge stage in front of my hometown. So it's kind of something a little bit like, I guess, dreamt about and a goal. So, sitting cage side 5 years ago, 6 years ago, however long that was, it was kind of like, man, this would be kind of a cool experience. And then, 6 years goes by and you never think it's going to happen again, but now we're here.
Camps, you've changed camps since then, and now this time around you're sharing the card with John and with Landon, who you spent a lot of time with this camp. How different is that, also fighting here and having the teammates competing, almost throwing back to an amateur feel?
It's cool, man. It's kind of a good vibe, honestly. Like, I think the last few fights that I've had, I might have been really the only fighter from New Mexico in general, I think, on the card. And so it's kind of just good vibes all around, to all know that we're all suffering together, we're all grinding together, and, we're all going to get that win together.
Since Anthony was born, his situation has had to be first and foremost on your mind and on Amanda's too. Given his health now, you feel a little more free of your focus a little better on the fight?
Yeah, with Anthony's condition and the way he's progressing, we definitely feel very, very, very happy with how he's progressing. He's about to be 2 years old, and with his condition, sometimes kids with his condition are barely sitting up on their own at 2.5. And, if anybody's seen him around fight week, he was running around these halls and, trying to get into everything. So, he's kind of blowing everybody's expectations out of the water when it comes to his progression and his development. And, of course, his condition is always scary just because it's a lifelong condition. And that's actually the beauty of being here at home is, most people don't know, but when I've gone away the last couple fights, I've always had that anxiety in the back of my head, because with his condition, in a split second, he can have a malfunction. Literally, he can be hanging out normal as can be in the morning, and then at night his shunt could possibly be failing, and then he has to go into a surgery. So that's kind of been the beauty, is that I have to be less worried about it, because if I'm out on fight week somewhere else and he starts to have a shunt malfunction, what am I going to do? And so it's been kind of nice that, God forbid anything like that ever happens, or we hope that we go years and years without another surgery, but at least I had that comfortability knowing that if it did happen, I'm at home, I can be there with him and still, be able to fight.
Being around the family all week, have you almost had to remind yourself that it's fight week?
Absolutely, every day. Every day I've had to remind myself that it's fight week, just because I've even told my wife that I just felt like I was going to training, which it's kind of nice though. Like, it's nice to not stress about fight week and the fight week jitters and cutting weight. Every day I've gone to the gym, I've just felt like I was going to training and going to go work out, and then, it turns out I'm cutting weight. So it's been both a blessing, and then, also I got to flick the switch a little bit.
How much motivation do you get by seeing your son doing so well? How much motivation does that give you, going into a fight like this and just seeing him? You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, seeing my son do so well is the reason why I still am fighting. I've kind of had some doubts. My career was all over the place for like a good solid 2 years after the DJ fight, and I told myself, man, is this something that I still want to do? Is this something, should I just go get a 9 to 5? That way, my son always has food on the table, and I don't have to worry about punching someone in the face for money. And then I see how strong he is, and I seen that, that this dude just fights every single day, and he's beating everybody's expectations. It's kind of like, what, man? If he's going to keep fighting, then I'm going to keep fighting. So that's kind of honestly why I'm still here.
What do you see from Bontorin?
What have I seen?
Yeah.
He's good. I mean, to be honest, anybody in the UFC is good. I definitely feel like the people that I've fought, probably skill level wise, have surpassed him. But no matter how I feel towards an opponent, like every opponent I feel like I'm better than. Obviously everyone does, but that doesn't mean I don't treat my opponents with respect. So going in there, I feel like he's tough. I feel like I'm better than him everywhere. But I treat all my opponents with respect, and I'm not going to let myself go in there and get lazy and get caught in something stupid. So, he's a tough fighter, but like I said, I feel like I'm just kind of better than him everywhere.
Was it big for you returning to flyweight to get somebody that was a ranked opponent?
I don't know, man. The flyweight division is so weird right now that everybody's ranked. So I don't know how much the rankings are that great right now, considering that I think everybody in the flyweight division is ranked. I think there's only like 15, maybe 18 flyweights in the whole division. So, you know, I'm excited to return to flyweight, though not, you know, not for the rankings or anything, but because it's kind of exciting. I feel like it's like a revamp, and they're signing more flyweights. You know, there's, you know, new faces. Like if you look at the top 15 now, although you may not recognize them, it's one, because there's very few, and two, because, you know, they've kind of cleaned house a little bit. You know, it's kind of, you know, out with the old, in with the new, and everyone in this division's tough. But, you know, I would expect to get a ranked opponent, you know, considering that my last flyweight fight was for the title. So, you know, it's cool.
You said an interesting comment earlier that when you fought at 135, it felt like you were carrying around an extra 10 pounds. That's kind of a counterintuitive notion, at least to people who don't fight. And I'm kind of curious about that. Do you feel like you're actually in better shape at 125 because you're forced to diet so hardcore and then cut weight? Is that actually one of the benefits, despite all the negatives of weight cutting?
Absolutely. You know, I truly feel my body's a natural 25-pound body. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, it's a disadvantage to everybody. You know, there are some people that are like, dude, what the hell are you cutting so much weight for? You're going to kill yourself, you know? So, you know, considering that, obviously we all cut a decent amount of weight. I also feel like there are some fighters in some cases that they can move up a weight class and feel better, you know? There's tons of fighters that are showing that. But for some fighters that kind of have that natural body feel, like, you know, like for me, I'm a natural 25er, so just getting in tremendous cardio shape, I start to lose weight, and I actually get really close to 135 as it is. So, you know, for some people it's different. You know, some people just naturally getting in good cardio shape kind of, you know, gets them closer to that weight class.
Can you divulge what you were before you got into fight camp as far as weight? Because you said you get as high as 163. What were you coming into this before the fight camp?
This one I try to keep my weight at about 148. I try to keep it under the 50s as much as I can, you know, that way I was focusing more on training camp and less about like kamikaze weight cut and trying to just, you know, lose a pound a day so I can make weight. So, you know, I definitely try to keep it under 150, a real healthy 150.